When I was working at Swivel, like I did mention, I realized that around 94% of our clients were either from Europe or Asia, and there was only one Ghanaian client. But I grew up knowing about the other Decathlons, knowing about other brands that did not survive generationally. So I felt there was a disconnect, and I strongly felt that our excuses were done, right? I thought that our fathers had a lot of excuses because there was war on the continent, there was no information, there were a lot of barriers. But I think in an era where internet became very popular, an era where information was available, where flights started moving around everywhere, then we could not have an excuse for our children. So we needed to also build something that could transcend beyond one generation. And so that was a very big motivation. So when we started up BTL Africa, it was our first client going to be an Ghanaian client, an African client. That's why we went for Casa Preco, and it was fulfilling because I felt we were contributing to a bigger cause. Over the period, I realized how many young guys, after the first 2 years, over 3,000 people have passed through our hands as either brand ambassadors or promoters or suppliers, and therefore I saw how bigger this thing is. And I remember people came to us and when I work, don't pay me. When my school reopened, I'll take money to go and pay my school fees. I had somebody who mother was going to do a surgery and she could not, and came for a loan that I work and them used to pay it off. So I saw how big this thing is. So the question was, where else could we take this experience, right? So it was quite a difficult conversation, to be frank. And that time, Liberia has come out of a war and from Ebola. And same for Sierra Leone. So if you look at our growth, our first two outings was in Liberia and Sierra Leone, because we thought there were more people. When I've watched some CNN documentary about how the youth were idle, and there's so much challenge after the war and the Ebola. So we went into those two markets. So I think the journey basically has been the fact that where can we make the most impact. I strongly believe that the Asia targets are almost done. It used to stay with the Americas, they went to Europe. Asia is now, dominating, but I think the African lion is about to take over. And therefore, how do we prepare ourselves? How do we prepare the individual so that we can become the beneficiary of that revolution? So it's a big motivation about what we do in terms of affecting lives, helping brands to become profitable and affecting the continent as a whole, and rewriting their history so that our kids and their kids will come and know that there are also Pan-African industries that can export to the other part of the world. And if you look at our vision, by 2027 we'll become the most influential in Africa. By 2035 we'll be into more continents. And we do this knowing that we cannot fail our generation, those who are coming after us. And therefore, that's the motivation of trying to take this beyond the borders. There's strength in numbers. And if you look at Bloomberg report, if you look at all the reports, Africa is the most growing continent. 28 or so out of the most developing cities from in the world are in Africa. So these are numbers that are showing that, we just have to get something right and we'll boom. In terms of doing business, Africa is the most profitable continent to do business right now. So all the indicators are there that our time will really do come. I think the challenge, if we don't prepare ourselves well, if we don't give it our best, our time will come and we won't be the beneficiaries. So we do this knowing that we are preparing the ground. We might not benefit from this, Roland, and that's the truth, because it's a 50, 100-year journey. But we know that if we all put in our quota at the right time, the continent will become what we want for it to become. So I think there are similarities and of course there are differences. I think the similarity is that Africa is welcoming, though in inverted commas. We've gone to some countries, and if I can mention like Cameroon, where basically you have to jump through a window from the airport because it was quite a very different way at the airport, even though you've had your visa on arrival and everything. And so in those Francophone countries was quite a barrier. But I also go to DRC, where you just have to walk in and set up as an African young man in a country that you don't speak French in, right? So I think generally it's been welcoming. What I see as the one common thing is that there's a lot of expectations. I think there's a burden army of young men and women who expect a lot from the continent, who have a lot of expectation around where this continent is heading. So it's not too difficult to sell your vision to people. I mean, for people to leave their established blue chip companies and come and join this campaign and this crusade and this journey is a testament to that fact. The pluses far outweigh these ones. If for us as a Ghanaian company set up here, we're able to set up brick and mortar presence in 8 countries, then it means that there's something that is right on the continent that we should be able to harness. Yeah, I think these are some of the more challenging, but they are logistics and they'll go away. With time, the airlines will permeate this continent, and so it will become as easy as having an Uber to a friend's house, right? So I know what the prospects are, but in terms of differences, I think they have very little, but the commonalities are the expectant continent, welcoming continent, and a continent with full potential, heavy potential. I'll be underplaying the relevance of what we've been able to achieve if I say just come by just doing the basics. All these things you have listed are very loud. I mean, in terms of resources, like I did mention, access to facilities is not a joke. If you take an OD right now, you are going to pay around 24% per annum. That eats up all your margins. When the client gives you a PO, they are going to pay you 90 days time. You have to finance the project. The kind of people to use to achieve the vision doesn't come readily. You don't know where to find them. There are no institutions that are teaching that is teaching entrepreneurship or vision or leaders. We are all teaching the technical skills of the work, and so those are challenges that we do face. But I think what we have done is to focus on the solutions, and therefore my opinion will be about the solutions we have tried to do. So when we realize what we want to grow as a business, the fact that we want to become African dominant, we realize that we have to get the best from Africa. So as far back as 4 years, we started looking for Africans and bringing them into the head office to train them and then move them out. We also have what we call the BTL Academy, which seems to assemble people in the formal sector, but because experience is not taught anywhere, and then giving them training over a period of time, so that when you want to use them, you're able to fall on them. You have given them a kind of training. And we have a strong regional approach in terms of every market that we go in. So in Ghana here, we have regional managers. And if you come to our head office right now, around 30% of the staff have risen from the rank of regional reps to become permanent staff. So there's a lot of ways we have used to tackle this problem. What we did was to get credibility, so that people could believe in this vision. And so we signed up for affiliation. So BTL Africa is the only agency in E3. E3 Network is the association of agencies across Europe, Asia, and America. And therefore, we have access to ideation, so to research, to search and spin ideas. And we do this on a regular basis to understand. So when we are launching 4G, they have launched 4G in their market, therefore we are picking experience, and then we are building on it to become better. When we are launching some product, they have launched it already. So also, a way of also keeping ourselves grounded. We also signed up to become an affiliate of Dentsu, one of the biggest agencies in Sub-Saharan Africa. So we are the experiential wing of Dentsu in Ghana and other markets. So what it means is that Dentsu have been around for a very long time. They've learned the habit of keeping business going, and therefore by signing up to them, we also tow along and build the kind of structures and institutions that help us to bring the vision of not just letting this being a one-off or a me-too business, but rather a long-term vision that will stay in 100 years to come.